Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome once again to the Ridiculously Lame Wrestling Show. I am your host, Tony Squares, as always, joined by my co-host, Mr. Robert Lentini himself. He's been covering this industry for over a decade, now a writer for Sportskeeda, and this week we are breaking down everything that has happened in both WWE and AEW. We have Cody Rhodes locked up against the ropes as Randy Orton gets put through a table. We have Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan going to blows over Dominic. What's going to happen there? And of course, we have a 60-minute wonderful display of wrestling between two of the best wrestlers in AEW, maybe even the world. We're going to break it all down, but first, Bob, I know you like to say we got to get into the show. The viewers want us to talk about wrestling immediately, but I have to say, man, do we need to put like a warning label on this video? Because if you're watching on YouTube right now, my man, you are severely wounded. Your lip has a huge gash on it from what happened exactly?
It was a terrible pizza accident. This is just a PSA to all you fine folks listening out there. If you're going to get a pizza and you see it taken out of the oven and put on a plate as a slice, give it a minute or two. Don't just bite right in. There's a tragic burn wound here. I'm playing through it. I put my pads on, playing through the pain, but I'm here. That's the most important thing. I'm here. I'm a survivor, and I'm here.
They're calling you the Darby Allin of wrestling podcast, so
Yeah,
I really enjoy it, man. I'm happy to see you playing through the pain, and I know you're so happy that I brought that up to start off the show. But let's dive in now to the main card of the week in the world of wrestling, and we're starting off with the curtain jerker. And my friend, it has to be what we saw on AEW Dynamite, the 250th episode. We said last week we're going to have MJF versus Ospreay. They're going to do this right now. They're going to draw the ratings in, and they're opening up the show with it. What are we going to see? We saw 60 minutes of wrestling. 60 minutes of wrestling that ended with MJF raising the belt really, really high. He used that diamond, whatever it's called, that dynamite diamond ring.
Yeah.
Punching Ospreay in the face, knocking him out cold, and stealing the belt from Ospreay. But more importantly, my friend, a wonderful, wonderful match on free television from a company that needs wonderful. They needed to showcase what AEW was all about. You, as the WWE fan, how did you feel watching this, and did you enjoy the first hour of your Wednesday Night Dynamite?
I did. It was an excellent match. I was probably it's arguably the best match they've ever aired on Dynamite. So it's like if people like going to criticize it for the length, that's stupid to me. I mean, it did have some filler, did go on long. Yeah, but whatever. What are they going to have with the other? What are they going to replace that time with? More Learning Tree? Give me more MJF versus Will Ospreay. Because after that match, the show kind of sucked. But that first match, the first hour was electric. It's like everything that AEW could be. But it's just and MJF winning the international championship is interesting to me. They're obviously doing this again at Wembley. MJF versus Will Ospreay for that title, I'm presuming. But how do you top this one? Like, how do you even like this? Like, if you were asking, if I were the booker, I'd say let's do a 30-minute match on Dynamite and let's do the hour at Wembley. But now they've already done the hour on Dynamite. I don't know what the hell they do at Wembley, but we'll see. But it was an electric match. I hope it did well for the ratings. I hope it worked. I hope, because Will Ospreay is probably the best wrestler on the planet. Like if not the best. He's that damn good. And his mic skills are improving. He's only going to get better from working with MJF. So I love everything about this storyline. Really, MJF and Ospreay is like the biggest match on the show, and it's not for the main title. Because that's the one I'm most invested in now. But yeah, let me hear some of your thoughts on what did you think about the Iron Man match? I guess we can call it.
I will say probably could have gone 40 minutes and been just as impactful, but I understand what are the other 20 minutes going to be? Another, I don't know, like Willow Nightingale promo? Come on. I really enjoyed this match. You know what I was watching this match and how wonderful Will Ospreay is as a talent, as a wrestler. I was truly once again respecting MJF's entire catalog, because MJF is the exact type of wrestler, not the mic skills, the type of wrestler that AEW needs, because he's not the high-flying gymnastic type that does all these. He is very much a base in the wrestling game, and him and Ospreay together work perfectly because they can do the chain wrestling stuff. They can do the pin combination stuff that goes into a headlock, into a leg takedown, and all. They can do all that stuff. And MJF can live that game, but he also can be the grounded professional wrestler that makes the eye poke as impactful as the sunset power bomb or whatever. Like, MJF is the perfect foil for all of these guys that AEW has. And I'm so excited to see the next step of this because, yeah, we got 60 minutes. And yeah, Will Ospreay probably could have won if he did the Tiger Driver, and then he didn't do the Tiger Driver, and then MJF knocks him into the referee and hits him with the diamond ring. So will Ospreay break bad in order to get over MJF the second time? There is so many storytelling things for this. I don't know what they do as a stipulation, if they have a type of Iron Man match or 2 out of 3 falls match or something like that. But I'm excited to see what happens. And absolutely, especially with Ospreay being from there, this is 100% the main event of that Wembley Stadium, even though it won't be the main event in Wembley Stadium. I was so happy, dude. I was so happy to watch this. And all I got to say, the best part of the night, probably the part that made me pop the most as a wrestling fan over the past, 6 weeks, was afterwards MJF getting helped by 7 security guards and the oxygen mask on his face as he has the belt. I was laughing my ass off. A+ all around.
That was really, excuse me, Jesus. That was really great. And also, they've set up this Don Callis family thing. They like Will Ospreay cordially left the Don Callis family. The stupidest booking I've ever seen. He's a heel. He joins the company as a heel. He's in the Don Callis family. Decides he doesn't want to kill whoever he faced at the pay-per-view with a screwdriver. I'm already blanking. That's what Don Callis, like, then on Collision, they have a backstage conversation. And Will Ospreay's like, hey, man, I'm sorry I couldn't use a screwdriver. I don't want to be in the Don Callis family anymore. And Don Callis is like, all right, man, best of luck. Don Callis is a heel. There's no way that's the way the story's ending, right? So I'm guessing that he's going to play a part in this match at All In and screw over Ospreay. We'll see. There's a million, or maybe MJF will join the Don Callis family. That would be the worst thing ever, but it could happen. There's a million different ways they could go with this, but I really thought that they needed that match last night, and I hope people appreciate it instead of trying to poke holes in it and find things wrong with it because it was too long. It was one of the best matches of the year, and it's 2 of the greatest wrestlers of our generation. Let's enjoy it.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's enjoy it. And also, another thing to shout out before we move on. We talked a lot about how WWE's production level has just tenfold gotten better ever since people left that company. They had the following, Rhea Ripley walking out during her entrance and all this cool Braun Breaker, like sky cam view of his spear, like all the cool things they're doing. There was some excellent camera work and spots set up in production from this Ospreay MJF match, particularly the one where he's out of the ring and says to the camera, like, I'm the best in the world and you know it. And then from behind him, you don't see it, but Ospreay comes diving out of the ropes and hits him with the back of the elbow. Like, there was some A+ stuff built in to that world, and I a lot of props for AEW here. That match was special. Rest of the Dynamite, well, we're not going to be talking about it on this part of the show. Let's move on, though. That's it for the curtain jerker. Let's move on to WWE and the mid-card segments of the week. First one, Bob, I have a question for you. Because we've built for the past, 6 months of Drew McIntyre versus CM Punk, and CM Punk has cost Drew McIntyre every step of the way, even though he's injured. Drew McIntyre has kept this feud going on social media, has been the MVP of the company. This is the match we're all looking forward to come SummerSlam. And yet, because CM Punk cost the cash in and cost Seth Rollins a chance at winning Damian Priest, Seth Rollins is now involved in the CM Punk storyline. Is this match between Drew McIntyre and CM Punk going to become a triple threat with Seth Rollins? And is that overbooking, or is that worth the wait?
I have 2 responses to that question. My first one is I hope it doesn't become a triple threat match, because that would be overbooking, because you could get 6 months out of CM Punk versus Seth Rollins, just like you could do with CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre. And the only reason I would say that Seth Rollins might be in this as a triple threat is to protect CM Punk if it's his first match back and they don't want to have him get injured. So maybe Seth Rollins would take all the bumps, but I don't think they'd do that either. I'm hoping this isn't becoming a triple threat, but they're leaning. Rollins and Punk had a confrontation on Raw. As you just said, McIntyre and Rollins had a confrontation last night. Drew McIntyre was about to have his suspension lifted and decided not to apologize to the referees, and that's why we don't have the SummerSlam match between Punk and McIntyre in storyline right now. But Punk's going to be on Raw this Monday night. We could find out more answers, but to answer your question, I really hope it's not a triple threat match. They could do a triple threat match down the line, but I want it to be Punk and McIntyre first, and maybe Rollins attacks after the match, whatever the result is. But I do not want Rollins involved in that match at all right now.
Well, the fact that Rollins is healthy as fast as he is and good to go again, he already had a good match with Damian Priest. Finish be damned. Rollins should be a part of the SummerSlam card.
Yeah.
And I want him to be on the SummerSlam card. He's one of the best wrestlers in the world, let alone WWE. But him factoring into this, we said so much that Drew McIntyre versus Punk doesn't need a belt to have us feel like that's the main event. And yet you're going to add Seth Rollins into this. I hate it. I hate it completely. And I do think you're right, though. And that part scares me. Are they adding Seth Rollins because CM Punk isn't physically ready to compete in a singles match at SummerSlam for like 25 minutes? And that's the part that scares me the most, because they're talking about how he's back at NXT, he's been training, he's been doing all this stuff. Have we seen him take any bumps in the past, 2 months since he's been back on television? Do we know if he's physically cleared? And SummerSlam's what, 2.5 weeks away? Again, is the 50-year-old too old for wrestling, Bob?
Well, Adam Copeland is 50, and he hasn't wrestled in a while because he doesn't know how to jump off a cage. But CM Punk is injured right now, and he's 45. And he'll if that the only they could do CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre versus Seth Rollins at SummerSlam with Punk on commentary again, or maybe Seth Rollins is going to be on commentary because Punk was on commentary for their match at WrestleMania, something like that. But I don't think they even need to do the Punk match with McIntyre at SummerSlam if they can hold off for it to Bash at Berlin or whatever the hell the next premium live event is. If Punk isn't healthy, don't rush it. Punk's killed 6 months of airtime with the best feud in wrestling by just talking. He doesn't even need to wrestle. So that's my answer to that. It's just don't rush him back into the ring if he's not healthy, because he's a very brittle man. As much as I love CM Punk, he's constantly on the injured list. So don't rush him back if he's not ready, please.
I'm interested to see what happens. Again, I think worst case scenario is a triple threat for these guys at SummerSlam. But if that's the road we're going down,
be a good match. But it's not what I wanted. It feels rushed. It's Seth Rollins just all of a sudden just feels thrown into this. Even though they've had a Rollins and Punk confrontation in the past, that's a WrestleMania feud. That's not that's WrestleMania 41 Punk versus Rollins for the title. Well, that's what I want.
You can't have Punk face Rollins at WrestleMania and have him face Cena at WrestleMania, Bob. Come on. We know we're clearing the decks for that to happen. But maybe you're right. If we get a triple threat, that'd be interesting. Speaking of triple threats that we're not going to get, we talked about Cody Rhodes at the start of the show. He was, trapped in the ropes as the Bloodline took out Randy Orton. We are weeks away from what will be Cody versus Solo Sikoa at SummerSlam. We've known this was coming. We can talk about whether we believe the build to get here or not. That part doesn't matter. We know Roman is going to get involved in some capacity, whether it be at SummerSlam or after SummerSlam. My questioning is, I understand you had to get rid of Randy, so he's not the one to save Cody when the Bloodline intervenes at SummerSlam and Roman is. But I feel like Randy's just been running on empty for the past. Run on empty is not the right word. Sort of running in neutral for the past few months, because we're waiting for the Randy and Cody feud. He's been dropping the hints, staring at the belt. He's been, and now he's put out of his misery by the Bloodline just to waste a month until he comes back after SummerSlam and attacks Cody. I understand people love long-term booking and long-term storytelling. This is one of the slowest paced shows that I've ever seen in a while with this storyline, and I'm kind of lost on it, man.
Yeah, it's just the Randy Orton thing. I just can't wait till we get to Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes. Try as you might as they have to build up Solo Sikoa. I'm sorry, Like, I gave it a chance. Like, he's a good act. He's a good worker. I don't buy him as this tribal chief, so I'm not invested in Cody Rhodes versus Solo Sikoa that much. And Randy Orton, like you said, just been running in place. His return was overshadowed by CM Punk at Survivor Series, and then he lost to Roman Reigns. He's lost every big match. He's like Bryan Danielson of WWE is Randy Orton right now. But it's just, yeah, this whole storyline, this whole beatdown, if they end the show with just Cody Rhodes versus Solo Sikoa and Roman Reigns doesn't return after that match, I'll be pissed, because that's not a main event SummerSlam match. Cody Rhodes, and I don't care how popular Cody Rhodes is, Solo Sikoa is just not on that level, in my opinion.
But do you feel like we could have burned this Randy versus Cody feud before this Solo feud? Like, you had 3 premium live events. I understand we had Cody versus AJ Styles, but like, we've been
Yeah.
hinting at the Randy thing for a while. Now we're going to push Randy to what? Survivor Series versus Cody? Like, I just feel like we're keep pushing it again. And you
I
bring
agree.
up the point of Solo. Like, it's a long time, man. We are telling this story for a damn long time. And other than one of the stories we're going to be talking about to end this main card event, like, there's stories that you can tell for a long time that keep us invested. This one just hasn't done it for me. Like, do you care? I know it's going to be a great match, but if it happens at Survivor Series and we see more months of build, are you really going to care about Cody versus Randy? We know Cody's going to go over. Like, why are we here?
Well, I will, just because of the story with the back. Like, they were in a faction years ago.
Yeah.
Like, they could tell a good story. But I agree with your point of this being dragged out. Like, the 6-man tag at Money in the Bank, like, I don't even remember a single thing from it other than Solo Sikoa attacked after them. Like, just like, there's a lot of like Cody Rhodes' title reign that I've been pretty underwhelmed with since he won it. Like, it's like we're all like so excited for him finishing the story, and then once he did, it's like, all right, what do we have to do? Okay, well, he'll face AJ Styles and then go right back to facing the Bloodline, and then eventually Randy Orton. But I agree, it just feels dragged out, and Orton's just kind of just waiting around for something important to do, and it's kind of frustrating.
Speaking of waiting around for something important to do, let's move on to the final mid-card match of the week. And this is Blood and Guts happening on AEW next week. At this point next week, we'll be talking about the recap of it. And I wanted to bring this up because we have the elites. We have, the Young Bucks. We have Okada, Jack Perry, and now Hangman Adam Page. And then we have Team AEW that for some reason Briscoe is the captain of and putting together. And we're now getting Briscoe, the Acclaimed, 2 of them, both of them, sadly. The Acclaimed are in the match. We also have Swerve, which is a very exciting addition. And then who's the 5th guy now? Of course, it's Darby Allin. Bob, correct me if I'm wrong. Is this not the same exact match that we saw weeks ago at their pay-per-view, the 4-on-4 match? Or maybe Jack Perry wasn't it? It's a triple threat match, right? The Briscoe and the Acclaimed, or Darby Allin. Like, we have seen this combination over and over again for the Elite, and each time the Elite has gone over. And now we're doing it again for Blood and Guts. I would have liked to see some new blood, for lack of a better word. I would have liked to see some new people in this match. This is what we're getting. Sadly, the Acclaimed is in it. Sadly, Briscoe is the leader of it.
Yeah.
Darby Allin's there. I mean, you've sold me on MJF versus Ospreay. And you should be selling me on Swerve versus Hangman. And every time those 2 guys are facing each other, I'm buying in. But you could not. I'm not excited the least bit for this Blood and Guts episode coming up, specifically this match. Do you, as the man who does not like the Elite whatsoever, do you care about this match?
Oh, of course not. But if you're not excited about that Blood and Guts, we got Chris Jericho versus Minoru Suzuki for the FTW title next week too. If does that get your blood flowing? But no, I'm not excited about this. The Acclaimed inclusion in Team AEW. It feels like this match is from like 2021. Like, I don't understand. Like, did Tony like bump his head when he was making this match? Because the Acclaimed have been like stale and like nobody's cared about them on Collision for like a year with those trios titles. And Mark Briscoe, I love Mark Briscoe. I wanted them to push him right after, like pretty soon after Jay Briscoe tragically passed away. Like, they didn't do anything with him then. And now he's like, I think he's the ROH champion or one of the champions. He doesn't represent AEW to me. He's not a big AEW star. Darby Allin makes sense. And that's about it. And Swerve Strickland. But I wish they were doing some, well, it's just a TV match, so they don't have to do anything huge with him, and they're using Strickland and Hangman Page to set that up. But yeah,
I understand
Go ahead.
I understand using Strickland and Page in this to set that up, but you're absolutely right. Why is Mark Briscoe the ROH champion?
Yeah.
The captain of Team AEW. He doesn't even have an AEW belt.
No,
Like, there's just so many things you could have changed here, and the Acclaim do nothing for me. And if I'm correct me if I'm wrong, Blood and Guts is the one where they enter one at a time, right?
yeah, it's like a War Games type thing. It's
Yeah.
like the two
So I have to
cages.
see the Acclaimed enter twice. Like, how many times when Team AEW's entrance music starts am I going to be excited? The only one I'm excited about is Swerve walking in there, and maybe Darby. Like, Darby will probably fly
Oh,
in from
yeah,
He'll probably just try to do a swanton bob from the top of the arena for his entrance. Like, but I just feel like it's going to be a boring match.
yeah.
And they're gonna go crazy. They're gonna do
Yeah.
crazy spots. They're gonna thumbtacks and all this other stuff. Like, the Young Bucks are great with those types of matches. I'm just not excited for the least about this, and that's
This
sad, man. Blood and Guts should be more exciting than that. But let's move on now to the main card of the week, Bob.
main event.
And this is here not because it's the best storyline in wrestling, especially in WWE over the past few months, but also because we want to push this forward, man. We have Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan. They're going to be fighting, and it's going to be apparently over the custody of Dominic Mysterio, who is torn between two worlds right now. And you had a couple of ideas. What should this match between Liv and Rhea have a stipulation, and why shouldn't it be Dominic Mysterio on a pole? I would love to see your pitch for a Dom on a pole match.
Well, it's obviously for the Women's World Championship, but Dominic Mysterio has been such a focal point, a central figure in this storyline, this love triangle, this intricate romance that we've been watching for months now. And I just think Dominic Mysterio on a pole is just such an interesting concept, because if Liv Morgan starts climbing up to retrieve Dominic Mysterio on a pole, is he going to kick her off? Like, is he going to try to kick her off, or he's going to be like, please come? Like, there's a lot of ways to that. That's a stupid idea, but I love it. Also, you could you could also do Dominic Mysterio in a shark cage so he can't interfere, just suspended above the ring. Chris Jericho was in one of those back in the day. They've done that a few times, but there's a million different ways you can go. But I would love to see Dominic Mysterio on a pole. They're obviously not going to do that, but this storyline has been great.
That snuck out of the shark cage? Wasn't there someone that snuck out of a shark?
Was it Enzo? Was maybe Enzo Amore? I might be misremembering that. The great Enzo.
It was like a valet or something that snuck out of the shark cage.
Reggie.
Anyway,
Reggie with Carmella.
Watching WWE finish this storyline and see where it goes next, I'm very much intrigued. Again, Damian Priest afterthought, Judgment Day afterthought, but what can you do? I'm excited to see where this goes. If you had to predict right now, we're not doing our SummerSlam predictions yet. Let's say Dominic Mysterio is not in a shark cage. He's ringside watching these two star-crossed lovers try to go after it for his heart and for the belt. If you had the pen, how would you book this ending here?
If I had the pen, I would have Dominic Mysterio betray Rhea Ripley, help Liv Morgan retain to continue this storyline after SummerSlam, because I don't want it to end just a few weeks after Rhea Ripley returning. They have stuff they can do here. And that would also lead to the breakup of the Judgment Day. Like you said, Damian Priest, like an afterthought right now. I kind of disagree with that. I think, that botch finish was terrible, but he's slowly turning babyface on Raw. Like, they're doing it, and he's getting good pops, and he's not defeating Gunther, so his title reign's about to be over. But I think he's becoming something, and I think that maybe him and Rhea Ripley could start their own thing if the Judgment Day break up, because he's enjoying the hell out of Dominic Mysterio being miserable. Yeah. So there's another story in there.
Jey Uso involved, as much you know how much I love Jey Uso.
Finn Balor, he still took that room key. I'm still holding on to that's going to mean something. Probably not, but I'm still going to bring it up. But Jey Uso started hitting on Rhea Ripley on Raw, and Dominic challenged him to a match and lost. And then after that match, Liv Morgan got on top of Dom again, and Rhea ran after, and Liv sprinted away. So but the storyline has been expertly done. I have no idea where it's going to go. I have no idea if Dominic Mysterio really wants to be back with Rhea Ripley, or if this is just a master plan by Liv Morgan. And that's good storytelling to me.
I think it is great storytelling because of all the options we have laid at our feet here that we could believe this finish. If I had the pen, and what I think is going to happen is I think Dominic does cost Rhea Ripley the belt, gets Liv Morgan the victory. She walks out with the champion, Dominic by her side, finally, bent the knee, so to speak, to Liv Morgan. And right before we exit with these two, he's as happy as a clam. Finn Balor attacks him from behind, and it was all a ruse. We've used you completely, and now you're alone and penniless, groveling on the floor. That's what I would do to old Dom Mysterio. Because if you want to turn Dom babyface, he's right there too, man. Like they've been booing the crap out of him for years. But if you want to turn him babyface because he's just a sad sack of potatoes, there's a way to do it, and it's getting up close. But I'm excited for it. But that's it for the main card of the week. Let's move on to the gimmicks, my friend. First things first, we have the social media superstar of the week. And it goes to your boy Otis. Again, goodbye Otis and the Chad Gable storyline. That's fucking gone. A lot of work that did, building us up to that great pop for Otis, and he pushes him over, and then he's gone now. There goes that storyline. Great job, Triple H. But social superstar of the week goes to him. What do you got for there?
Well, I mean, he's still I won't retort. He's still a little bit involved in backstage conversation with Chad Gable, but yeah, you're right. They dropped the ball in that storyline. But the social superstar for Otis is because he's shirtless with Creed. I don't know remember what song. It was either Higher or My Arms Wide Open. Great Scott Stapp enthusiast. Apparently Otis with Creed in his chest just swaying. One of my favorite posts of the year. I've watched it like 10 times because he's so ridiculously, his body is ridiculous. It's just hilarious to watch. A very great post by Otis. Wish they did more with you on television, but you're killing it on social media.
See, Bob, I don't want to be a Debbie Downer. It didn't do anything for me. And I don't know whether I'm overexposed to Creed. Like, again, I'm a fan of Creed. Not trying to bash Creed in the year 2024. I'm just saying.
I mean, they suck, but I've seen them live like 5 times. But go
if there's a more overplayed band in 2024, I'd love to hear them. Like, there's only so many times you can go back to the well with a Nickelback joke before it starts becoming a joke. And just becomes lame. And then Otis, again, we're just fat guy in a little coat. Seen that 1,000 times before, too. So, again, didn't do nothing for me, but I understand why he's winning Social Superstar of the Week. Probably the first time we've disagreed on Social Superstar of the Week. But let's now go. Let's go to the Jobber of the Week. And, again, what did we say last week, Bob, with the Jobber of the Week? What do we need out of our jobbers is a gimmick, a shtick. Okay, GPA, grade point average, gave us that great turnaround thumbs up, followed closely by Mr. Ben Bishop himself, the mountain of a man who gave another thumbs up. Good. Again, all we need out of a jobber, if you're going to lose in 90 seconds, is do something fun and make fun of yourself during it, right? Got to give it off to Ben Bishop here. Mankind Smart of the Week. Oh, my God. Darby Allin came down from the rafters to end Dynamite 250. I don't know if this makes me not a wrestling fan. I don't need to see anyone ever come down from the rafters ever again. I know I know it's safe. I know Broadway performers and like theater performers do it all the time now, and arenas all over the world. And I understand what happened to Owen Hart is the complete rarity. Every time I see it happen in a wrestling thing, that's all I think about, and it takes me out of the moment altogether. However, if you're going to keep doing it with Darby Allin, Tony Khan, can I offer you one suggestion? The reason why it worked so well with Sting is because he had the duster covering the vest, hoisting him up. When Darby Allin came down in just the vest, it looks like he was a kid going down into the swimming pool, and like his shirt was up around his neck. It looked awful. Bob, what do you think?
He was also he also descended and was facing the opposite way of his opponents. He was looking at his teammates, and they had to turn him around. It was stupid. And at least he wasn't upside down. At least he wasn't upside down this time. I'll give him that. That's it. That's all I have to say about that. At least he wasn't upside down and nobody got hurt.
Just put him in a duster jacket. Make him look more intimidating. It'll get him out of that pink furry shit. Bob, the promo of the week goes to your boy Eric Rowan.
Yeah, I'll just a quick excuse basically to talk about the Wyatt Six. They had a promo on basically they confronted Chad Gable on Raw too, and the Creed brothers are now with Chad Gable. Bo Dallas laughing. He looks so much like Bray Wyatt. It's crazy.
He does.
He really does. But the promo of the week goes to Eric Rowan. It was just one of the VHS tapes delivered to Pat McAfee was a promo by Eric Rowan this past Monday night, and he just said, his whole family was gone with Brody Lee and Bray Wyatt passing away, and it's just a line that it really resonated with me. He's like, who's going to remember me? I'm just Rowan, which is just a really like a legit line because he is just a character guy. He's not a big star. He never will be. And it was just a real line that I loved. And I think they're doing a great job with the Wyatt Six so far.
Yeah, I agree with you. With 2 more gimmicks, the dummy of the week, which is a new gimmick that Bob wanted to debut.
We've done this before. It's the Eli Drake LA Knight dummy of the week. It's the dummy. We have an intro ready. Play it now.
Dummy. Yeah. Yeah. Dummy.
Oh, it's you. You got it.
Oh yeah. The dummy. Well, it's this is just one of my favorite. This whole thing, because when Ric Flair was signed by AEW, after the backlash, Tony Khan made sure to say that Woo Energy was paying him. It was like this ridiculous bickering, like trying to we didn't sign Ric Flair, he's just here, they're paying us. And then after Ric Flair is released or his contract expires, he says that he pitched at AEW Revolution, Sting's last match after the bell, that he would attack Sting after the match and get put in the Scorpion Death Drop, and then he never heard from the company again. So what an awful partnership. What a ridiculous. Can you imagine after that match, like if Sting's celebrating with the confetti and fucking 80-year-old Ric Flair attacks from behind? That would have been the worst thing ever. He was like immobile during that match. You remember that still image of him lying under the rope? He looked like he was dead. Like, there's just, what an awful signing partnership to begin with. He no place in AEW. He's a WWE legend. Just have him have him retire and show up there once in a while. It was so out of place, made no sense. And yeah, just dummy of the week goes to Tony, Rick, everyone involved, Woo Energy, Woo Wings, everybody involved in Ric Flair's business life. Dummy of the week.
I do think Ric Flair, the way they booked him in the Sting retirement match, I enjoyed. I did enjoy that part of it. I'm happy.
I did too.
I'm happy he's gone, and I'm never to be seen from again in that company. Speaking of, Hulk Hogan's at the RNC convention later on this afternoon. It's just old wrestlers, man. They don't stop. Last gimmick of the week. It's a new one. And what I thought was going to be the second new one of the week. Apparently, we've had Dummy of the Week before, but it's the Shivani Schlub. The Shivani Screw Up of the week. Shivani Schlub. Mariah May came out in Tony Storm attire, black and white footage, had the full entrance, and then it wasn't Tony Storm, obviously. And Mariah May gave what was a not so great of a promo, explaining everything that happened. But right before it, as she's out there, the audience is somewhat booing her because they kind of don't know if it's Tony Storm or not. And then she brings up the microphone to talk, and then doesn't talk, pulls it away, and play the clip, man. Tony Schiavone just said this live on TBS.
Oh, speak, bitch. Come on now. Oh my God,
Tony. I got something to say. You've done this before, my friend. You've done this before with Britt Baker, and I'm sure she gave you the okay, but you called her a bitch a lot of times on Dynamite, Rampage, Collision, and other live television. I don't want to be that, woke media, cancel culture guy. Can we just cut out the bitch? Like, there are so many other words you can say to display your anger towards a heel wrestler. Don't need to be calling a woman a bitch. I'm just, am I wrong on that, Bob? I don't think we need to cancel Tony or fire Tony. I'm just saying, can we not call her a bitch? Can we not call a woman a bitch? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, just in general, I don't like AEW commentary at all. But Tony Schiavone, I used to love, but he just feels like he's been phoning it in a while to me. And then that comment was just, I laughed in the moment, but I saw the outrage and I see everybody's point. Huh?
It was a hard beat.
Yeah, it was just, speak, bitch. It was out of left field. Just like, what the hell is this guy's problem? But it's just felt like Tony just not up to date on what's acceptable at the moment. Just needs a little refresher, a little sit down with somebody backstage. Be like, hey, let's not call our talent bitches on live air. Let's not do that.
It's also like,
what did Jim Ross used to call them? Like Jezebel? Like, he used to come up with stupid words, like say something like that. That damn Jezebel. That's what Jim Ross used to yell. It was hilarious.
I take Jim Ross saying "Welcome to AEW Raw" over this, man. Jesus Christ. The funniest part about it, and by funny, it's not very funny, but if you look at all of the commentators, like in wrestling today, Tony Schiavone's like the nerdiest looking one. Like, he is the most looks like the absolute beta male that you could possibly do. And for him to be the one to come out with, again, the hard beat, like, we hit it as hard as you could. And it was shocking. Even Taz under his breath is like, unprofessional. It
was unprofessional, but he's done it before. But yeah, he went too far this time.
He's done it before. That's the thing I'm saying. Just stop. Just eliminate it from the vocabulary.
A different word. Just any other word that isn't offensive.
Anything at all. Anything at all. We'll send you some suggestions via email, maybe for your show. But that is it for the Ridiculously Lame Wrestling Show. It's not it. How can I forget headlines? We're going to end with headlines really quick, Bob. This is when we tell you what's going to happen, what the world of wrestling will be talking about at this point next week. Bob, you do WWE.
Yeah, I got the whole article again and not just the headline. I'll try to shorten it. We're coming to the end of Logan Paul's U.S. title reign, I hope. 2 title defenses in 257 days. He's going to be defending against LA Knight at SummerSlam. I want LA Knight to win his first title on the main roster. In the company, actually. He's never won a title in the company. I want LA Knight to defeat Logan Paul in his hometown. So whatever the headline out of that is, get the damn U.S. title off Logan Paul. That's my headline.
My headline is, and this is stupid, I hope this doesn't happen, but my headline is, with Chris Jericho and Suzuki's match, the Learning Tree, I think we have a new addition to the Learning Tree, and it's the biggest branch of all. It's the return of Jinder Mahal into AEW. His 90 days are up. And we could see if anyone's going to bring him in, it would be Chris Jericho waving his thinking he was funnier than he is. But that is it for the Ridiculously Lame Wrestling Show. My name is Tony Squares. That's Mr. Robert Lentini. And as always, it's time for This Week in Ryback.